This man contacted his father from 30 years ago via radio, but his father didn't believe what he was saying. He thought the other person was playing a joke on him. Just as the two were arguing, a fire accidentally broke out on his father's desk. His father quickly put out the fire, but John noticed that the desk he had used for decades suddenly had burn marks on it. This made him even more certain the other person was indeed his father. The father heard this. The other person knew he had burned the desk, but even so, he didn't believe the other person was his son. He warned the other person to stay away from his family. John didn't know why this was happening. He said his father would die in a fire. The location was an abandoned warehouse, and it would happen tomorrow. His father didn't believe him. To save his father's life, he described everything that happened in the fire, and told his father, if he was trapped in the fire, the seemingly dangerous passageway might be his only way out. After he finished speaking, the signal was cut off. His father fell into deep thought. John shouted anxiously, but received no response. The next day, when his father went to work, he noticed that the baseball game's score matched what John had said the night before. As he was puzzled, the fire alarm sounded on the radio. Everything was unfolding as John had described, but he didn't have time to think further and set off immediately. On the way, he thought it might all be a coincidence. When he arrived at the fire scene, he discovered that John had been telling the truth. He learned that someone was trapped inside. He broke through the wall without hesitation. The warehouse had already become a sea of flames. There were occasional explosions. Faced with this situation, the other firefighters had no choice but to retreat. But the father didn't give up. He quickly found the unconscious girl and prepared to leave on the ladder. However, the ladder malfunctioned. He had to find another way out. Looking at the raging fire on one side and the thick smoke on the other, he walked toward the smoke-filled passageway. But then he remembered John's warning from the night before. At that moment, he chose to believe John. He turned back toward the fire, found a slide, held the girl in his arms, and slid down. He passed through the flames. He successfully escaped safely from the other side. The passage he had initially chosen exploded violently. At the same time, in John's mind on the other side, many new memories suddenly surfaced. John couldn't tell if they were real or not. He asked how his father had died. He was told that his father had died of cancer from smoking, and that it had happened 10 years ago. John couldn't believe it. The past had truly been altered by him. Upon returning home, his father believed him. The person was indeed his own son. He turned on the radio to contact John, but there was no response, so he carved a message on the table. John also noticed the words on the table. He confirmed that his father was still alive. John turned on the radio and replied to his father. They were both very excited. John urged his father to quit smoking. His father gladly agreed. John hadn't seen his father in 30 years. He had so many things he wanted to say to his father. They talked all night long, but what they didn't realize was that, once history was changed, everything would be affected.